We'll now call to order the January 24th, 2023 meeting of the Stillwater Planning Commission. It'll be the process this evening to call for items on the agenda. The commission will hear briefly from staff first, then the applicant and/or their representative. Then we will open the public hearing and hear from those in favor and/or in opposition to the request. When you do come to the podium, please clearly state your name and address for the record. And then before closing the public hearing, both staff, the applicant, and/or their representative will be provided an opportunity to respond and provide additional information and answer any questions that have been raised. After all interested parties have spoken, the public hearing will be closed. Then we will hear closing remarks and alternatives from staff. With that, we'll move into the items on the public hearing. The first item is a map amendment. It's map amendment 2217, and we shall hear from staff on this item.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Jacqueline Porter, City Planner, presenting on behalf of the Planning Department. First item, as mentioned, is 2217, which is to the request to rezone a property located at 29 South Drury Street from small lot single family to two family residential. Here's an area map of the subject property. It is east of South Drury Street and north of 6th, a little ways. There's not much of anything else around. This is an aerial view of the subject property. It is to the south is Eastern Villa Mobile Home Park, and Highland Park Elementary is there with a little oval drive looking thing there to the southwest. Here's a Google Street View looking east off of South Drury Street to the subject property. The subject property, as mentioned before, is zoned RSS with similar zoning surrounding the property. To the south is your residential mobile home and your two-family and multifamily residential zoning district and your public for the school. Here is an image of the 2030 Comprehensive Plan Future Land Use Map. Future land use maps are used to project the desired uses in the community at the time of the adoption of the comprehensive plan. The property is projected use as a high-density residential. Are there any questions for staff?
Any questions from the commissioners?
Is that oil facility there, is that defunct or is that still operation?
I am not sure. That would be looked into more so when we go through what they plan on doing on the property.
Okay. The applicant may be able to provide that information.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions from commissioners? Okay, thank you. Oh, no, go ahead. Sorry.
I wasn't quick enough.
Being too quick.
So two-family residential basically is duplexes?
Mhm.
Okay. I assumed that, but I thought I better ask.
Yeah.
Just make sure.
Yeah.
Thanks.
What's the condition of South Drury at that point?
I am not sure.
Well, in the photo, it looked like gravel road.
That's what I thought.
Well, it is. I actually drove out there
Yeah, Buzz.
today, and
Yeah.
it is turns to dirt right there, just before the.
Just before the
post.
entrance to the
Yeah.
Take Battery Road.
Yeah.
Any other questions for staff? All right. Okay, at this time, I'd ask if the applicant would like to come forward and provide any additional information. Please state your name and address for the record.
Hey, my name is Richard Eoff. I actually live at 311 South, it's 311 South Union Road for all intents and purposes, so just outside of town. And I'm actually here representing for the applicants. They're actually in Houston, weren't able to be here today, so. What can I tell you? As far as I know, what we're talking about is they're looking for roughly, I think the plan is about 16 duplexes on a little over 7 acres out there, trying to stay away from the low-lying area where water can be an issue and leave some green space too. The tank battery there has actually been vacated and is gone now. So that was actually done before they purchased the property. So it shows in Google Maps, or Street View, but it's not there anymore. And the road does actually go to dirt right before the entrance there, so obviously that'd have to be improved a bit, and That's what I know on the surface. Any questions that I can answer for anybody?
What do you define as improved a bit?
Well, obviously it'll have to be paved. I mean, there's no question it'll have to be paved one way or another there to get in, and obviously the road will have to be paved down for the duplexes.
Any other questions for the applicant? All right, thank you so
All right,
much.
thanks.
At this time, I would ask if there's anyone else in the audience this evening that would like to speak in favor of this item, to please come forward. Seeing none, I'll ask if there's anyone in the audience this evening that would like to speak in opposition of this item. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and ask staff to present findings and alternatives.
All right. All right, for the findings, Land Development Code allows for rezoning of land via map amendment. Residential high-density uses are located nearby to the south. The comprehensive plan calls for high-density residential at the property's location. So your alternatives is to accept findings and recommend that the City Council approve the proposed map amendment as presented, find that the map amendment is not an appropriate use for the property based upon the impact to the surrounding vicinity, and do not recommend that the City Council approve the map amendment, or find that additional information or discussion is needed prior to making a recommendation and tabling the request to a certain date.
Questions for staff? Okay, thank you. Commissioners, any discussion or perhaps a motion?
I'd make a motion that we accept the findings and recommend that the city council approve the proposed map amendment as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We shall now vote. Motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda is map amendment MA 22-18, and we shall hear from staff on this item first.
All right, thank you. Okay, so the next item is a map amendment for the property located at 619 West 12th Avenue, rezoning from office to public. This is the location of the historical Booker T. Washington School. Here's an area map of the subject property. It's south of 12th between Hester and Knobloch. Here's an area view of the subject property. Excuse me. The property is roughly 2 acres and is located south of the Southern Woods Park, which is also zoned public, as you'll see here in a little bit. But here is a street view looking south off of 12th Avenue at the subject property. Here is the current zoning of the subject property. It's zoned office with public located to the north for the park area, and then there's several public over to the east as well, but with residential small lot is what's to the south. Here's the future land use map of the subject property. It is proposed to be commercial along the 12th corridor. Do you have any questions for staff?
Any questions from the commissioners?
Well, the lines are not exactly straight there, but, so that would lead to the question. That property essentially includes everything between the 12th and 13th and between the
Yes, the
Knobloch
zoning.
and Hester?
Yes, so
all
the
that
zoning
property?
would go over, the property lines itself is the outline, so
Oh.
the zoning goes to the middle of the right-of-ways all
Middle-
around.
Oh, to the middle of the right, to the middle of the streets then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Does the city have any plans or funding for specific uses for what they're going to be doing in the future with that property?
Yes, since this property was gifted, part of the, Brady can probably explain some more on it, was gifted to us to allow us to repurpose the integrity of the original school that's been added onto. We're going to, it's the gym and
Yep.
the main office area.
Yep,
Go ahead.
I'll go ahead. Yep, that's why I'm here tonight, just to answer any questions that you have on the school. So Brady Moore from the City Management Office. This was a property that was, a local anonymous donor gifted the funds to buy the property. It was an arrangement with the owners that basically anything over that amount of 250,000 that the appraised value comes into the school would be given as a letter of basically like credit of donation from the city. And of course, the donors that gave the 250,000 also received a letter of credit from the city. And so it was a great thing to get back into the hands of the city. We want to preserve the original structures. If you drive by the school or take time and park and look, you'll see kind of the original brick in what we call it the T structure. It's the gymnasium and the administration building. So it makes kind of a T. It's beautiful old architecture. It's unfortunately was built around with those other wings that are in disrepair and need to be torn down. And so the intent now that it's in the city's hands is to work with local organizations that are motivated at going and getting grant funding, raising the funds, not using city funds, to demo those buildings and to restore and preserve the original structure. The intended uses for those structures was clearly laid out by the donor, and it's all approved by council, was basically for sports recreation, historical displays like a museum, community events, and just education in general. So the gym's in incredible shape. We got to tour it recently, and so we're excited at the possibilities. It just takes community support and funding now. Yep.
I have some additional questions, Brady.
Yes.
That structure has flooded several times in the past. At one point, I believe that the finished floor was noted to be below floodplain level.
Oh, absolutely, it is. Yes.
So any work to be done to preserve the integrity, would that include some type of mitigation for future flooding?
But it would be almost impossible, right? I mean, basically impossible because of the funds it would take to get it out of the floodplain. So basically the way that we would go about it is designing it, and some of the builders that are already interested in getting involved have looked at it, would be to basically design it for flooding. So whatever you put it in, the electricity would be above that flood line. You can design buildings to basically, whether it's stained concrete floors, the way you treat the brick, and that basically allows it to flood, and that's just part of it. But you design it that way, so you're not pulling out sheetrock or anything like that.
Generally, there's also design considered of the structural integrity to make sure that the additional pressure from flood waters do not compromise the structure. So would that be part of this assessment?
Yeah, part of any assessments that go forward before any decisions are made on restoration. I mean, there's open air concepts you could do too. I mean, there's a lot of things we could do, but it absolutely will be taken into consideration that there's no way around it. It will flood again, right?
That would be my assessment.
Yeah.
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 Okay. All right. That would be my questions.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got another question. Regards to the gym, so with the intent, if enough or sufficient funds are raised to make the gym usable for various activities, is the
Yep.
gym floor in decent condition?
Yeah, so it is. I mean, it's concrete. They removed I think there used to be a wood floor in there. It's concrete now, so it would need new finishing to the floor. But beside it, the gym is very impressive, the shape it's in. So if you look at I don't know if anybody's been by Stone Cloud and looked at the architecture of that roof inside the building there on Husband and 10th. But it's very similar, same arch trusses. Almost looks like it was built at the same time. The wood's immaculate underneath. I'm sure it needs a new roof. But the gym is the closest thing that you could most easily restore. The builder that toured with us that day also noticed that the ceiling joists in the administration building are full span, so it looks like we could, tear down the interior walls, and not compromise the integrity of the structure. So that's hopeful. Again, lots of funding, a lot of community support is needed, but this is the first step in preserving such a historic landmark that is worthy of restoring. One thing we mentioned to council too, I don't know if you all noticed in the article, it was in a magazine or newspaper thing last year, but the Washington School was listed on a list of historical preservation Oklahoma, and is one of only 3 that are left that haven't been torn down, African American schools. And this is the only one that's actually available for acquisition. And it's just great. We're grateful that the gentleman from the community, the family from the community, was able to donate the funds so that it could get back in the city's hands. And so we're excited to see where this goes moving forward.
All right, good, thanks.
Hey, it's good seeing you all tonight.
All right. Okay, so we don't exactly have an applicant, right? Because this is city property, right? Okay, so, all right, so I'll open up to see if, open the public hearing. Is there anyone present tonight that would like to speak in favor of this item? Seeing none, is there anyone in the audience this evening that would like to speak in opposition of this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and ask for staff to present findings and alternatives.
Okay, so the findings, the development code allows for rezoning of the land via map amendment. Public zoning is located nearby to the north. Comprehensive plan calls for commercial use at the property's location. So your alternatives are accept findings and recommend that the city council approve the proposed map amendment as presented, or find that the map amendment is not an appropriate use for the property based upon the impact to the surrounding vicinity and do not recommend that the city council approve the map amendment, or find that additional information or discussion is needed prior to making a recommendation and table the request to a certain date.
Thank you. Commissioners, motion, discussion?
I motion to accept the findings and recommend that the city council approve the proposed map amendment as presented.
I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. We shall now vote. Motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda is a specific use permit, SUP 2212. We shall hear from staff first.
All right, thank you. The final item I'm presenting tonight is a request for a specific use permit located at 401 South Sea Star Boulevard to operate an animal and pet keeping facility. Here's an area map of the subject property. It is located on the east side of Sea Star and just north of West 6th Avenue. Here's an aerial view of the subject property. It's back in there on Sea Star. And I just forgot the hotel. The hotel's to the north. And there's yes, Springfield. I wanted to say the Hampton, but I'm like,
It's
that's not
across
right.
the street.
Yeah, yes. Anyways, here is, oh, there it is. This is, yeah, the Springfield. Anyways, this is a Google Street View looking north on West 6th Avenue. Subject property zone commercial general with similar zoning surrounding the property, except to the north where it is zoned agriculture. Here is multiple images of the 2030 comprehensive plan, future land use map of the subject property. The proposed use is for commercial in the area. The applicant is here. If you have any questions, the applicant is seeking to operate a vet specialty center. It just falls under animal and pet keeping services in our code.
Animal and what?
Animal and pet keeping services.
Is that the same as a vet clinic and a kennel?
Yep. We don't
Okay.
have, yeah, we don't
Yeah,
have
you
anything.
don't have that
Yeah, we don't
defined
have
way.
that as a use described, so that's the closest one we have. Do you have any questions for staff other than that?
I don't see any. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to give the applicant an opportunity to come forward, provide any additional information or that you'd like to share.
Good evening, Stephen Gose, Gose and Associates, 113 East 8th Avenue. Don't really have anything else to add, just if there's additional questions. But yeah, the way the code's written, we got to have the SUP to allow the proposed use. So,
Any questions for the applicant?
Who is going to run the facility?
not me. So
Not you. You don't like dogs?
I like dogs and cats. You just don't want me operating on them. No, our client's based out of Oklahoma City, but they've got several of these, and so
Oh,
they've
that's-
seen a need for this in the community. So,
So this will be their first facility in Stillwater then?
of this type, yeah. And it's not just standard vet; it's like a emergency hospital kind of thing. So,
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thanks.
So at this time, we'll open the public hearing and ask if there's anyone in the audience that would like to speak in favor. Please come forward. You can just state your name and address for the record. Absolutely, sure. Give us both your names, but don't speak at the same time. But
I'm Danielle Dugat, and I live at 3615 East 44th Street in Stillwater.
I'm Carrie McCauley. I live at 5011 West 1st Street in Stillwater.
So we would be the owners of the clinic through Precision. So the sorry, we haven't officially met you yet. So Precision is our contractor, who's actually the client that would be building the building, and then we are going to be leasing to own from Precision Construction Group. So I'm a veterinary surgeon, and Carrie is a nurse, veterinary nurse, and so we are going to be going into this adventure as co-owners to develop a specialty animal hospital. So it's going to start out with surgery only, and then expand to hopefully add a second surgeon, internal medicine, potentially oncology, and other specialists. So no boarding facilities. I know that's the animal care, but it's strictly advanced veterinary care.
so if you had a patient that needed an overnight stay, that could be accommodated, but not necessarily a boarding, no boarding, just patient care.
Yes, correct. So it would be, and we have plans developed depending on their critical need in addition to using OSU. But yes, it would be only staying in the hospital for care needing ICU treatment, for example. Yeah, no boarding because you're going away for Christmas.
Right, okay, great. Any other questions from commissioners?
So this is small animal?
Small animal only.
Only small animal?
Small animal only.
And-
No hay, no cows, no trailers, nothing of that sort.
The owner is the Vet Specialty Center? Is that-
Veterinary Specialty Center of Stillwater will be our,
Is that a franchise
nope,
from a larger organization around the country? So this will be the only one?
this will be the only one, privately
that-
owned by
that
us.
kind, okay.
Well, Precision will own it initially, the construction group, and then we will purchase it from them, but privately, no corporation.
Okay. So do you have a current operation in Stillwater, or somewhere in Stillwater? or
Yes,
anywhere?
so yes, currently, we work at OSU right now.
Okay, so this will be your first venture into,
Correct.
oh,
yes.
that's a big jump.
Yes, it's
Wow.
very different.
Great.
And the need is tremendous in the state. I mean, veterinarians are in extreme demand, specialists are very minimal in the state, so it's going to be an exciting adventure. It will bring in a lot of funds for the city, or for us.
Not to get into business too much, but you see your service area as being Stillwater and surroundings
Oh.
up to Ponca City and?
Oh, all over. So
All over.
yes, Stillwater, of course, but I get clients from all over the country
Right.
with one of the procedures I do. I've had them from
Oh.
Canada and Hawaii too. So I get all over the country. But then we also get a lot from Oklahoma City, from Wichita, and up in Kansas, Fayetteville, Arkansas, because there's no major hospitals in the Arkansas vicinity, so they come down this way. So we actually get surrounding states. I get a lot from Amarillo as well, in
So-
Stillwater.
So what makes it different that makes it in high demand?
There's just not enough of us.
Okay.
Period. So there's only two internists in the entire state. There's only 3 surgical facilities in the entire state.
Okay, so it's for the surgery, the special care that a lot of vets can't handle, okay?
Yeah. So if the regular, like Western veterinary, Dr. Fussell, he can't handle the type of procedure, then he calls me and says, I need you to do it, and they send the case. So our referral community is, or our clients are referring veterinarians versus the emergency clinic where it's the, client walking in off the street.
Sounds like a great adventure.
It's
It'll
exciting,
be
for sure.
exciting, yeah.
Any other questions?
I don't see any. Thank you so much. Okay. I'll ask if there's anyone else in the audience who would like to speak in favor. Seeing none, I'll ask if there's anyone in the audience that would like to speak in opposition. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and ask staff to present findings and alternatives.
All right, so the findings. Land Development Code allows the use of an animal and pet keeping facility in the commercial general zoning district with a specific use permit. The comprehensive plan calls for commercial use in the property's location. All right, so your alternatives. Accept findings and recommend that the City Council approve the proposed specific use permit as presented, or find that the specific use permit is not an appropriate use for the property based upon the impact to the surrounding vicinities and do not recommend that the City Council approve the request, or find that that additional information or discussion is needed prior to making a recommendation and table the request to a certain date.
Thank you. Commissioners? Anyone entertaining a motion or on this one?
Motion to accept the findings and recommend that the city council approve the proposed specific use permit as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We shall now vote. Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, guys.
Good luck.
Yeah, sounds great.
Next item on the agenda are the meeting summaries for possible review and action. We'll take them separately. I will say that on November 15th as well as December 20th, I had some corrections that I sent to Chelsea earlier, so I don't know if anybody else had any corrections. She's picked up the ones that I had that were predominantly just a few little, the word is instead of in, and little typos that spell check doesn't pick up. I believe the clean copy has all of the corrections. Yes. Okay. Anyone finding any other corrections? Anyone entertaining a motion?
I move to accept the minutes for the meeting of November 15th, 2022.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept the minutes as submitted for November 15th. We shall now vote. Motion passes 5-0. Do I have a motion for the minutes to accept the minutes as submitted for December 20th?
Yeah, I'd make a motion to accept the minutes of December 20th.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the minutes for December 20th. We shall now vote. Motion passes 5-0. The next item on the agenda is miscellaneous items from staff, planning commissioners, or the city attorney for possible discussion and action. I see Jacqueline stepping forward.
I just have a little miscellaneous item. As the newer staff is getting acclimated, we are now looking at the reports that we present to you guys. If you have any suggestions of additional information you would like to see on the reports, feel free to email me. That way we can provide that information because the reports are designed for you guys to get as much information as you would like. So I want to make sure we incorporate the appropriate information that you want. So
That's great.
all I have.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, the next planning commission meeting is February 7th, 2023. And the last item on the agenda is adjournment. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
A motion and a second to adjourn. We shall now vote. Motion passes 5-0. We are now adjourned.